I just realized that this will be like 6 years I've been making YouTube videos. Hopefully this one doesn't do too bad. In this video, I'm going to talk about everything I've done to my 2005 Toyota Sequoia Limited. So hello everyone, welcome to Marty Motoring. I've been doing videos for the past year on my 2005 Toyota Sequoia. So this is another one. This is everything I've done so far. I've had it for a year and a couple of months. So I just kind of want to go over everything I've done. And there's actually a bunch of new stuff that I didn't cover in any other videos. So I just want to add them into this one. It's going to be a really raw look at it. It's not like super clean or anything. I've been working on my Lexus LS460 and I'm waiting on parts. So while I'm waiting on those, I figured now is a great time to make this video. So here it is, my 2005 Toyota Sequoia Limited 4x4. If you don't know a lot about the Sequoias, they are the biggest SUV Toyota makes. They're based off of the Tundra. It's a Tundra truck frame underneath, and then they kind of put an SUV body, bigger than the 4Runner, bigger than the Land Cruiser, and it's only sold in North America. It was intended as just a big family hauler to compete with the Suburban and the Expedition. And you know, it's a little bit smaller V8 and everything, but it does the job. These have really held their value. It's a very similar drivetrain to a Land Cruiser 4Runner. You know, you have the V8, you have 4-wheel drive, so about 10 inches longer, you get a little more cargo space. There is a third row. I don't have mine in there. Now mine is pretty modified, and I've done that over the last year and couple of months that I've owned it. I originally did a video in this same spot, and I bought this in December of 2022 or New Year's Eve, and then 2023 January 1st was the first day that I actually had this and was doing stuff to it. I got this for $3,900, but it needed a lot. So 2005, this has the 4.7 liter 2UZ FE. It's a V8 and it's known to go to 1,000,000 miles. A lot of people have gotten that on them. It does have variable valve timing, and the years 2004 and up, so you know, the first of the first gens had the same engine, but it didn't have variable valve timing, so it made a little bit less power. And then those trucks only had 4-speed transmissions, where this has the 5, but you can definitely tell the 4-speed from the 5-speed when you drive them, because I used to have a 2002. I didn't really make videos on it in the channel. I mean, this was like 2016. I did 2002 silver Sequoia, and I always wanted a 2005 black one just because I liked how they looked. So I finally got one, and I've done all the mods to it. So let's start with the mods. Now that you know all about the Sequoia, you know how much I got it for, when I got it. So up front, we have an aftermarket grille, and it says V8, it says Toyota, and yeah, it bolts right on. Just made it look a little bit more modern, kind of nicer. I really like it. Now these are just Amazon headlights. I'll have links for those in the description if you want to grab a set. But what I did is I modified them. So a lot of these lights come with halogen bulbs. A lot of people put LED bulbs and it gets crazy light scatter. Well, this is a pretty popular mod on the Sequoias and Tundras of this generation. There's also an LED in there. So you get the mini projector LEDs. You can get them on eBay. Can't find them on Amazon anymore. I don't know why, but I found these on eBay. I want to say they're H4s. I will double check that and put that information in the description below. But you put them in there and they have low beam and high beam. So you have to cut out the reflector that's in there, get it out through the back, and then put this in. But once you do that, you get a nice even light cutoff. It's nice and white, looks awesome at night. Doesn't blind other drivers. High beams work great. I do have Lasfit LED, and they don't hyper flash. Very nice, very bright. Then I have Lasfit switchbacks in the fogs. Those turn from white, you turn them on again, then they turn yellow. I've mentioned that in other videos. Under the hood, we have the 4.7 liter V8, like I talked about. I actually had done the timing belt and water pump in June of 2023. I recently replaced the brake booster for a second time. That's kind of like an issue on these. I just keep getting used ones because the new one's $700 and these are like $100. So threw that in, brake light is gone, and you know, brakes work how they should. Yeah, other than the timing belt and that, I haven't really replaced much in here. I do have a K&N filter in here. I did spark plugs when I did the timing belt. I also did cam seals. So when you have the valve covers off, you can access the cams, and I did valve cover gaskets, that kind of stuff. So those were the things it really needed when I got it. It was just seeping a little bit of oil, as these old Toyotas do. So nothing crazy, but definitely something that needed to be done. And I did. The timing belt didn't look bad that was on there, but I just did it for peace of mind. I didn't want it to blow up while I was, you know, just driving it down the road. These are 969 brand wheels. They're 17 by 8. I'm running 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗪 AT3s, I believe these are. And they are 265/70/17. So just one size up in sidewall from the stock size. The stock size is 265/65/17, just a little bit bigger, and gives it about an inch of lift all around. These tires have been pretty good. They started to get a little bit noisy. They're pretty cheap for a whole set. I think it was like $600, but they are a good budget all-terrain tire, and yeah, they look pretty good. The wheels have a -10 offset. They give it just a perfect lined up. It's not sticking out or anything. Yeah, it looks good. This vehicle came tinted. I believe it's 20%. I did have restore effects done to the whole outside of the vehicle. This is nearing 325,000 miles, so the paint wasn't in the best condition, or at least the clear coat. So they touched up paint chips. They do a proprietary thing where they wet sand the whole vehicle and then they coat it with their chemically bonding clear coat, and it pretty much makes your paint like new again. It's like starting over. There are some spots that are just so deep the panel would have had to been repainted, but for the most part it is very dusty. It looks like new paint. But the restore effects was super nice. I do have a custom plate I just got, Sequoia, because it's pretty sick. And I had debadged it, and I put the badge there to cover the 2 holes from the Toyota logo, and I actually really like how it looks. Kind of reminds me of the 5th generation 4Runner. Back here, not much was done other than some LED turn signals and LED reverse lights, and then we have the Lasfit LED brake lights. So they have sent me a ton of stuff that's been really good for this vehicle. Coming around the side, we have the limited badges and my logo. And then moving underneath the vehicle, I did lower ball joints, OEM Toyota ones. Those are the ones that are recommended on the front. So I did brakes, lower ball joints, and suspension, which we'll get into next. The frame on this is super clean. It was coated in the 2016 recall instead of replaced, but you know, it's still really solid and there's no issues. The lift I'm running are Bilstein 5100s with Old Man Emu or ARB springs. The ride's a little stiffer than stock. You know, for day-to-day driving, it's not too bad. I probably could go with some Dobinson springs and make it a little bit better of a ride quality, but this was a very budget setup. Wheels, tires, lift, plus all the maintenance and fixes. You know, I have some money into this. I didn't want to put too much more. And this was supposed to be a budget build as a second vehicle. It is my primary driver right now with my LS460 down. Another thing I had to replace are these window sill visor. I don't know exactly what they're called, but these were all beat up. So I got some OEM ones, fresh and new. Also, this is hanging off and broke, and it actually doesn't work. So if I want to tow something and have brake lights, I need to fix that. I also do have a custom muffler setup I will show you now. So here we have the Y pipe. You have both. It goes into one. That's a just muffler I got off of eBay. There it is. You can see some exhaust dripping. Not the best weld job, but they put in this custom muffler and it sounds pretty good. No drone or anything. Everything under here is decently clean. I mean, this is a Pennsylvania and before that New Jersey vehicle, so we do get salt on the roads in the winter, but overall, not terrible. I think we covered all of the exterior stuff and the engine stuff, so let's move on to the interior. So, in the interior, stock color, I did repaint these just because it looks a lot better. They were kind of rusty and faded. I had to replace one of these because I broke it when I took the door panel off. Seats are in pretty good condition, as I've showed in other videos. We're getting some like dirt here and we have a crack here, so I will have to fix that. Nothing crazy for a almost 20-year-old truck. We have some WeatherTech mats up here in the front, as well as in the second row. And here's where all the magic happens. We have a brand new steering wheel. I just got this from CZD Custom. So that's the custom division of CZD Auto Parts. If you message them on Instagram, they can make you one like this. and it's a sportier steering wheel. So it's really the frame of a Sequoia or Tundra steering wheel underneath. And I got a black airbag from a 03 4Runner because this was all tan before. And then, yeah, you just put it all together and it works great. And if we move our attention away from this cool looking steering wheel to this cool looking head unit. This thing is awesome. So it has wireless CarPlay. It probably is trying to connect right now, but it's an Android based unit. And you can do a lot of stuff with it. So you have different apps and you can watch movies, all that stuff. This is the wireless CarPlay, which I mostly just use that. I do have a reverse camera installed in here, so it's wireless. So when I go into reverse, there we go. That is on the hatch in the license plate light area. Kind of modernizes the whole thing. Some of these Chinese Android units are just not great. This one is pretty nice because you do get a volume knob. I don't have steering wheel controls working right now. I didn't hook that part up just because there's tons of wires back there. So I took this bezel off. I had to replace a lot of this stuff with LED and fix some of the buttons. Then I had to route this out just to fit this thing in. This is a very custom mount. I wouldn't recommend this for somebody not comfortable with installing stereos. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, but it sounds great. I do have a subwoofer hooked up to it. It's out of the vehicle right now. I do have power-based speakers, 7-inch, that I had to upgrade because the JBLs were totally shot. I still have the JBLs in the back seat though. This has the JBL system, so there's an amp and everything like that. So there's the head unit. We've got the reverse camera, all that good stuff. This really modernizes it. Just the head unit with this, it makes it a pleasure to drive every day. And we just have the accessories on, but you can see we're almost at 325,000 miles. Down here in this area needs a good cleaning, but I installed this little USB. It's like a switch where a switch would normally go, but I have this hooked to the head unit so I can plug in and do wired CarPlay if I need to, or charge, as well as the wireless CarPlay that's in the unit. Now, no 20-year-old car is gonna have no issues. You can see my four-wheel drive is not engaging right now. So there's definitely an issue there. Looked into it, kind of figured it out, but that's something that is gonna need to be addressed. I had pushed the button and that's what it does. It eventually goes away, goes back into two-wheel drive. So it's not really a safety issue. TPMS comes and goes. So maybe one of my tire sensors are going, and that's just kind of what happens with these. It's annoying, but it's not really that big of an issue. But I do like to have it all clean and no crazy lights on. I actually have taken this out, this gauge cluster area, and I wet sanded the back of this plastic sheet that has all of the numbers and everything, and it has like this green tinge to it, or tint. So if you wet sand it, it becomes white because this is a full LED gauge cluster. So you do that, and now at night all this is white and clean and looks so much better than before. Here in the back seat, not much has changed. We have a little visor thing for our daughter, and we have a nice little setup for her. That's pretty much it. Car seat fits well. It is annoying, there's no anchors on that side. We're using a seat belt and it is like pretty solid, but the anchors are only in these seats. And then of course I have the third row out and the subwoofer out right now just for cargo storage and things that were happening. But yeah, there's a ton of storage back there. So this is a pretty big vehicle. With the third row, you just flip that side up and you can get to the third row. But since we don't use it, we have the car seat there and then storage. All in all, there's a ton of room. I mean, I'm 6'1" and I'm fitting in here. I'm behind myself and I have pretty good room. We do have the rear HVAC controls. That's one thing I do like about this vehicle. I do have some LED interior lights. That's something I upgraded as well. And then this has a DVD player, but it's not hooked up or working because I have an aftermarket stereo. With the factory stereo, there is like a DVD player that you can use. I just don't. I also have my little power inverter to charge up tablets and things like that. Also, if you care to know, I just run Mobil 1 or SuperTech or whatever's cheapest for oil, and I run full synthetic, and I change it every 3,000 miles. So yeah, this thing's going and it's just gonna keep going. It's not a high performance engine. I don't need to use AMSOIL like I did in some of my other cars. I'm not towing a lot or anything like that. So I just use decent oil and change it often. So like I said, I'm 6'1" and I'm probably close to 280 pounds. And you know, I'm not small, but I still have headroom and I still fit pretty comfortably in this. Are there bigger vehicles out there? Yes, like a newer Tundra, tons of room. This, you know, it's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit it's not as wide as the latest vehicles that are out there, but it works. Like, we're comfortable. I would say the only bad news, if you're considering one of these, is the gas mileage. Like, it's not terrible. I spend like 70 bucks filling it up. It lasts me a decent while. You got the space, you got some power. It's just not the most efficient vehicle. So that's a full overview and modification list on my 2005 Toyota Sequoia Limited 4x4. If you enjoyed this video, you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, following along with future videos. It's free. Just hit subscribe and there you go. And you'll be notified of the new videos that are coming out. So yeah, I want to say thank you for watching. And as always, keep those wheels turning. So long, farewell.